Lucid dreamers of Reddit, what is the most intense lucid dream experience you've ever had? So much sex in the hot tubs. It was a family resort too, with many children running around. I watched a teenage boy wade slowly into the wave pool, stand still for a moment, only to have a brown cloud erupt from his shorts. He then waded slowly back out, while I blew the whistle crying from laughter. So much poo. So many times. We had a serial pooper one day that managed to shut down the water park by pooping in every pool. It was peak season. An Asian woman wearing a bright yellow bathing suit that became very see-through when wet. She had dark hair, pale skin, and very obviously didn't shave her downstairs. Lots of sad things too. Families obviously on the verge of breaking up, with the water park trip designed to give the kids some fun family time. You could spot them, because mom and dad were sitting at separate tables and street clothes just staring at their phones, while the kids played by themselves. There was one day the wife had a black eye and the husband had a full-blown temper tantrum over car keys. We called the police. Sex. Ducking everywhere. Blowjobs were given on rides, when I was guarding on the inside. It was funny the first time, but after the third time I splashed couples. Some trailer trash changed a kid's diaper in the pool. I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my least favorite attraction on the Citadel. I never worked at one, but back in the day my little brother and his friends used to go around and collect poop from the shallow end of the pool with styrofoam cups. They were doing it for free hot dogs at the concession stand. We are in our late 30s now, and I never fail to remind my brother's wife that her husband began his work life as a poop bounty hunter. Did you have to turn in the turd at the concession stand to get the free hot dog? That's the weird thing. The kids would refuse to give them up and just ask for a bun. I don't work at a park, but we had season passes to a park when I was growing up. The craziest thing I ever saw was one time when I was swimming in a wave pool. I had goggles on and was just swimming around underwater. I spotted an older man with his dick out just jacking it in the pool. I'm just swimming watching this and then coming up to see the man's face. He was surrounded by children. I was like 5 and couldn't really process what was going on and just found it very odd. When I got older and remembered that, I swore I would never take my kids to a water park. I'd wager you had a great time there. So why would you keep your kids from that great experience just because of one pervert? I don't work in a water park, but I do work at a hotel with a pool and jacuzzi. We have cameras and I constantly have to tell couples to stop banging in the hot tub. One day I had to drain it because it was frothing with semen, dead skin cells, and oil. You know who yees. I used to lifeguard at a pool that had a small indoor water park. It was a tiny lazy river, some water slides, and an area with a few islands. One time, when I was watching the islands, I heard a kid yell, "I'm going to poop on you." I looked over to see a young boy standing on an island with his trunks down that then shot a log out onto the head of another young boy in the water underneath him. I probably could have yelled to stop it, but poop in the water meant we closed for 2 hours and just sat around getting paid to do nothing, so I just let it slip by. Biological warfare. A giant, sloshing mess of diarrhea slipping down the water slide and into the pool where people were swimming. Diarrhea. For future reference, friend, it's spelled diarrhea. You're spelled diarrhea. I saw one guy go down a closed off dry slide and cut up his back really badly. Blood went everywhere in the pool and we had to shut down as someone claimed he had AIDS. Pools closed due to AIDS. Any stingrays? 2 old fat people having sex in the hot tub. I immediately had to stop myself from impulsively downvoting this just due to that mental picture. Sorry from me, and sorry from Ops Mom. We had a serial peer. Not in the pools, no one cares if you piss in a pool. Rather, there was a steam room, think damp sauna in the hallway connecting the locker rooms to the main pool areas, and employees only checked on the room every 15 minutes. Well, in the relative privacy of the thick steam, a mere 15 feet from the bathrooms, someone would relieve themselves. The puddle immediately began to turn into pee steam and fill the room, which mean we had to close the room and clean it. Imagine mopping with bleach the floors, walls, and ceiling of a very hot and humid room that smells extremely strongly of urine. It took up to an hour for the poor soul to clean it all. It was so bad that we had a pee log in the break room, where each incident was noted in an effort to find a pattern and catch the serial peer, but to no avail. Another time, we had to call the police on a woman who was being incredibly nasty to her 5-year-old son. She was trying to teach him to swim by hitting him around the head and angrily shouting at him for not swimming properly. She was also very roughly grabbing his arms and violently jerking them in a swimming motion. Now, us staff saw plenty of parents who disciplined their kids, including occasionally getting a little physical, and we had never felt the need to get the police involved. This was so bad that as I was discreetly getting my manager's attention, other people swimming were approaching me to express concern about this one mom abusing her kid. I got my manager over, and she was also disturbed by the treatment that this little boy was receiving. So she called the police and we all discreetly kept track of where the family was. The officer arrived barely in time before they walked out of the facility and pulled the mother aside. I have no idea what happened, but she left with her children. I hope at the very least she learned that you can't treat children like she had been. TL. Dr. A lot of pee steam, a lot of times. But what's in people's hearts and minds can be far nastier than their excretions. We didn't get paid nearly enough. I saw a lady destroy her hip by trying to slow down near the end of a body tube slide using her feet. One foot stuck to a dry part and the rest of her body kept going. Edit. Forgot about the dive-in filter. There was a filter someone would need to go into and clear. There were always a couple people who would volunteer because you would find money. You would also find used condoms, rodents, frogs, and other terrible things. Someone once threw up on a water slide. It was very chunky and the worst part is that it went down the entire slide, leaving a huge trail behind it. My now husband, then boyfriend, we were about 19 at the time, did this once, in Benidorm, while very hungover from a bar crawl the night before. He told the lifeguards, but they didn't appear to give a fuck, so I can only assume it is a daily occurrence. I had posted a story on another r/us Reddit, but basically witnessed a guy rubbing his junk on small children and the wave pool turned into a whole mess. Link to op below. Yep, I witnessed this when I was a child. Just commented about it. Working as a lifeguard at a pool, not a water park but pretty close, so every night, before we close the lifeguards clean the bathrooms. We have 4 family changing bathrooms with showers and diaper changing stations. While cleaning the bathrooms my coworker and I went into one of the family changing bathrooms to find an awful odor coming from the changing station. We open it up to find a full diaper, like filled to the brim, had been smashed into the changing station and smeared all over it. We still had to clean it up with nothing but gloves on to protect ourselves. Another one of my coworkers on a different day went into the men's room to find shit had literally been smeared all over the wall, like the person who did it was graffitiing with shit. This makes me immediately think your coworker got dealt a shit hand that day. Old Poopy Angelo now has to go on with the rest of his day hands that smell like actual shit. The shit he just shat. Because his hands basically took a bath in it. I actually knew a girl who did that poop smearing graffiti thing in high school. It was odd. I just googled it. Apparently it's like an actual thing called scatolia or fecal smearing. So not poop smearing graffiti thing. My bad. Not at a water park, but at an amusement park. I was a ride operator on the park's most popular roller coaster. We had a big line that day, and I had to shut down the ride for a biohazard cleanup because a lady had her period on the ride and her seat was covered in blood. Fortunately, the cleanup itself was above my pay grade, so I called a manager to come clean it up and requested the manager, whom I hated. The feeling was mutual. As a water park guest, I was swimming in the wave pool and watched a father help his toddler pull down her bathing suit so that she could pee into the pool. I decided to get out and waded past a band-aid and a turd. Didn't work there, but I saw an elderly woman pull out her breast and start bathing it in the wave pool at Action Park sometime in the early 90s. I want to say I'm shocked, but it was at Action Park, so I'm not shocked. To make it officially Action Park, my friend nearly drowned in the wave pool that same day. Good times. Didn't work there, but I saw an elderly woman pull out her breast and start bathing it in the wave pool at Action Park sometime in the early 90s. I want to say I'm shocked, but it was at Action Park, so I'm not shocked. To make it officially Action Park, my friend nearly drowned in the wave pool that same day. Good times. We used to roll up cosmic brownies and throw them in the pool in order to get an hour break. It was a regular thing. Not exactly a nasty thing for us, but I'm sure that visitors weren't impressed by our record number of fecal incident responses. Used to work in the kitchen of a water park in Texas. I saw people downright ignore all the health codes. Like one girl stuck her finger in the tub of chili and licked it off, and then did it again with the same finger. Lots of people would reach their hands into the ice machine. It was summer heat in Texas and we didn't have an AC, so they were all sweaty too. And then the obvious poop and puke and stuff. Pedophiles. Worked at a water park for 2 summers. We were able to catch 3 pedos across that time. 2 of them were acting on their own accord, and one guy claimed to be taking pictures because someone else paid him to. Before anyone asks, no, I don't know what happened to them. They were taken away by the county police and obviously banned from the park. Also, sorry if I scared some parents, but this stuff does happen. The scariest part is that those were the only 3 we caught. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment about your own personal experience about water park in the comments below. If you enjoyed and would want more, feel free to subscribe.